Hello to all my friends out there. And so I have been really busy, but there's a method to the madness. Okay, I've been setting up an eBay thrift store, and you may be thinking, why are you dressing up like a clown? What are you thinking? Well, what I was doing is I was using some of those photographs for my ads. If you go on eBay, small RHOD, same word, STON -0, and I use those photos for my advertising because the stuff sells better if you advertise. And then, you know, I did stealthy car living, and there was a method to the madness. A lot of people, they don't have enough money to survive. They're on this side of the street. Consider the car is better than the street. Don't go out and spend what little money you have. That's not smart. Stockpile. Last night, you know, I made the pancakes. The reason is because even like tonight I'm going to make chicken stew. You can use pancakes for bread, or you can use biscuits for bread. So today I want to make some bread and some jam because I have a lot of new followers. So, you know, if you're an old follower, bear with me. So I am making a half a batch of this white bread, and I like this one because there's no ingredients. And I'm going to make skillet bread because, you know, if you don't have a oven, if all you have is a cast iron skillet, that would be good. So, okay, I want to make myself, I'm going to make white rolls because the smaller your rolls, the better it's gonna be for your camp style, you know, skillet bread. I mean, really, the pioneers didn't have bread. So okay, so I have a half a batch. I had about maybe about a little more than a half cup water, and I'm using, I bought this at Walmart, 2 1/4 teaspoons yeast, and then, you know, one tablespoon. Well, I use 2 teaspoons because it's a half batch. And so this is what happened. So now I want to add a tiny bit of salt. And so if you're like me, the first time I ever made this, I go, well, how can this work? Well, just it works. Okay, so I bought this sugar. I'll be buying food for the stockpile, but I bought 10 pound sugar. I bought 10 pounds flour, and I bought this flour. It's a 2 pound bag from Dollar Tree. I like it. It makes really good bread. So now what I want to do is I want to mix my bread, the flour for my bread, little by little. So that I don't somehow wreck my bread. So you can see my yeast activates. You know, there's a chemical reaction if you get bubbles. Yes, I took chemistry, and I was probably quite possibly the stupidest person ever. So if your kids say I can't, say you can. You are going to do it. And once it's in their minds that they can do things, they can do pretty much anything. My son is a prime example of that one. Glad I had him too. Okay, so you can see this is as easy as it is. And when I get enough flour, it'll pretty much separate from the sides of a bowl. And welcome to all the new followers, and hello to all the old followers. And by the way, thank you very much for the awesome messages. Another thing about the messages is they're very encouraging and lovable. So, you know, sometimes if people are falling on hard times, being around encouraging, lovable people lifts those people up. And that was my whole plan when I started this. I didn't think it was going to work quite this well, but I'm glad it did. I guarantee you some people, you know, when they're in very bad circumstances, just can't stand all this lovableness. But I notice what I think happens is they get mad, but then they come back. And there's a lot of good information on those messages that can really, really help. I got a better rice recipe, as you all know. I was thrilled about that because the one lady said eat chicken, rice, and beans. So, you know, better rice. And this is all I do. I don't make a big deal out of this. I like a soft dough. So see how easy this is? I mean, if, you know, you're a professional bread maker, this might not be too impressive. But the point is that I am going to have some bread pretty soon. I don't want to be running out of bread either. That's not a good situation. And I spent days, and I made little sandwiches out of my bread too. You can bake this bread. Okay, so I only rise the bread. See how I'm containing my mess? You know, one of the sometimes you don't want to make bread because you go, it's too messy. I don't want flour all over the place. I don't want to make a big mess. Well, so now my dough is getting nice. So this bread is going to taste really, really good with my chicken stew. So I was thinking, you know, if you have a pot of a beef stew, I made hamburger stew because, you know, I got that idea straight off the cheap RV living video. And I recommend that channel. If you're kind of broke, go to that channel and see what the displaced people who are living in their cars and their vans. Now they like it because they're nomads, so I can understand that. Okay, so I want to make one. I want to make 6 little. And you know, this is homemade, so you know it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to. Now what do I do with that? Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to. I buy this at Dollar Tree. I find this stuff to be really, really good. I want to put. I don't want my little rolls sticking. Look, they look like little mannas. They are kind of like bread from God if you don't have any. So be getting yourself 10 pounds of flour. Even if you're living in an RV, you know, you still got to make sure you don't run out of food. That's not a good situation. So that gravy would actually make, this was kind of big, would kind of make a dozen rolls or a nice loaf of bread. But it's so easy to make, you can just make it. You know, this is easy. You can make a little, my grandmother made the bread every morning. She baked her bread, no matter how hot it was. Gotta have bread. They say they can't trace the recipe of beer. They can't really find out the origins, and they can't find out the origins of bread really either. All right, now here we go. See how easy that was? And so then I will, I want to spray some buttery cooking spray on the top. You can use butter, and then I have this piece of foil. I will just make a little foil tent, and I will bake it on low, or you can use a camp stove. Okay, so now, last night, I had the canned fruit on my pancakes. But if you don't have any fruit, but maybe if you have some dry fruit or some canned fruit. Okay, now the first time I use this, I use the whole batch because this is 18 apricots. So they're going to expand and they're going to make quite a bit of gravy. So I'm just going to use half. Then I want to cover my apricots with water. And I want to pretty much boil them. And then, you know, I want to, where's my little thing? you don't need too much sugar. I like sour fruit. And then you're gonna boil these down. And then when it's all, when it gets soft, you're gonna chop it with your spatula or spoon, side of a spoon, and then add a tablespoon or half a tablespoon for a small batch like this. Okay, so I want to make mention. So, okay, this is important. This is why I want to make mention. Okay, so this is good. All you need to add is water. Don't want to make bread? This stuff is good. You can make it just like the biscuits. I just mix it up. I add a little extra water. And then this is good for the stockpile. I'll be buying, I like the small ones because you're less likely to contaminate. And then with the bread, I like peanut butter and jam. I buy these for $1. And honey. And I bought these 2 cans of yeast for $1. I bought the other one before I found these. They'll stay good almost indefinitely as long as, so, okay, I want to make mention. So see, they're getting bigger already. I will just let them rise, and it won't take long, and then I'll cook them on low. And if they're not all the way done, I'll flip them. Let me get a better foil tent here. Doesn't have to be a perfect tent. It's nice if it's a tent, but sometimes my tents, you know, are a little bit flat. So, okay, so I made hamburger stew. I'm making chicken stew. And then I will make some beans. So if you make 3 containers of meat, or, you know, pans of stew, you could, you know, when you're old, you go, wow, you know, how am I going to survive? Well, this will do, you know, and then you only have to cook every other day, and it would be really good in a crock pot. Okay, I will be back, and God bless you all.